Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story channel. My name is Artieka.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 8. That episode is titled Striking a Balance. If you guys haven't already, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's review.
Let's do it.
You don't seem like you really don't want to review.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I
thought this episode was interesting.
I'm going to start off with the people that I'm trying to figure out why they're here.
All right.
Alyssa and Chris. We talk about Alyssa and Chris starting the single life again, but honestly, are they really? Because
I don't know.
you have to stay married until the show finishes airing. So,
Right. They can't really go out and just tell anybody, oh, I got divorced.
yeah, I'm going home.
Yeah.
That's all they can do.
I wrote, they actually had Chris and Alyssa on this episode.
Chris went home, had a Zoom chat with his mom to let his mom know what happened. That was all the technicality because his mama knew everything already.
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa met with her friend Caitlin. They apparently rescue dogs together. So I'm questioning Caitlin's perspective in life too at this point because she's friends with Alyssa. Alyssa just basically rewrote history in this conversation with Caitlin. She was like, no, we didn't get to talk about anything. We didn't get to talk about anything.
You didn't allow for y'all to talk about anything.
Left.
Like, that was the crazy part. It was like how she just sat up there and just said whatever she wanted to say to Caitlin. And Caitlin has to, like, she basically, like, has to believe it because her friend is telling her this. But we sat here and watched Alyssa act a plumb donkey on national TV to this man and never gave it a shot to, you know.
I'm hoping, even though I insulted Caitlin, sorry. I hope that Caitlin is kind of like, you know how you have that one friend or one family member, and in your case, you have a friend and a family member who lie all the time.
Oh my God.
And you have to listen to the story, react as if the entire story is truthful, and then figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that that's what Caitlin does. I hope that that's what most of the people around Alyssa do.
Mm-hmm.
That is funny that you have both a friend and a family member. That
is hilarious.
So yeah.
They actually was married for 10 days.
Yeah, they were. Alyssa says she wants to move to Texas and find her a cowboy. Okay, girl. Last thing with the two of them is they go to the bowling outing with all of the other couples because the couples have no idea that they've called it quits. Although they all know they call it quits.
Yeah, they all expected them to call it quits. They just didn't expect them to be calling it quits that soon. On
the show.
Yeah.
Like, they've known that Alyssa has called it quits since ground zero.
Day one.
However, there was no official discussion that Chris was like, peace, I'm out. As close as everyone says that they have rooftop meetings, all this other stuff. Nobody already asked Chris
but you gotta realize this was right after they got back. Like maybe a week.
Well, that's what they were saying on the show. Like literally, like the week that they moved in, they were having rooftop meetings with each other about like what was going on.
I guess they wasn't going because they all moved out. Like Chris and Alyssa moved out.
And somebody texted them and was like, Chris, you all right? Alyssa, you okay? That's what I'm saying. It was just a technicality. It was another reason for us to roll our eyes at Alyssa.
The part that I loved about Chris, like that bowling alley scene, was when Alyssa was like, I tried or we tried. She said something about trying, and everybody.
All the guys.
The girls did too.
Katina didn't say anything.
But you could look in their face and say, you tried, especially Olajuwon.
Olajuwon and Michael outright were like, no, you didn't.
Right. They said it in the confessional, but everybody's face said, nah, you didn't try. Like, that's the one thing I was like, thank you guys for just your face telling it all.
We just ended the Alyssa and Chris note with Alyssa folding up a piece of tissue and dotting the corners of her eyes for these tears that she is not shedding for her marriage, just for the experiences.
Yeah.
Anywho,
who's next?
Let's go in order of uneventfulness. We got Jasmina and Michael.
What uneventfulness? It felt good looking at them. Like,
be uneventful.
Yeah, like getting along.
Mm-hmm. So at the opening of the two of them, Michael sat down with his sister Claire, and his sister gave him some advice on how to deal with Jasmina. Jasmina went over her friend Sam's house, and she tells Sam about, he didn't tell me he had a female roommate, and he doesn't like being wrong. And she's like, Jasmina, have you met yourself?
She didn't like that.
No, she did not. Sam gave us a little bit more insight on Jasmina in the moment. It's not like her stepdad was like, she liked to argue.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, in the moment, Jasmina, you don't like being wrong either. You do the same things that Michael is doing. Like, it's the same thing going back and forth.
Yeah.
On each side. So
Michael's sister message to him was, y'all don't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to tread lightly, I want to say, to get to know each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or something. That's the message I got. But it was something else I was looking for her to say to him.
It seemed like they cut out a lot of pieces because she compared Jasmina to herself. She kept calling her strong. And I mean, okay, cool, whatever. But
it's kind of like how my family calls you smart. Not saying that you're not smart.
But like that's their go-to.
Yeah. She's so smart. You're like, dog, I married her. Don't I get something for that?
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought with the sister.
My bad.
Okay, it seems like Claire is like, okay, Jasmina is this, and this, but I am too. You should know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
She was putting it, I guess she was trying to put it in a perspective, but I also think that when you look at certain things, you would not look at traits of your sibling in your spouse and be like, know how to deal with that.
Yeah, nah, you wouldn't.
Because you wouldn't deal with your spouse the same way that you deal with your sibling.
Right.
It was just, you're right. I wanted more from Claire and we didn't get it.
Yeah. It's just a feeling of like it's so much more that she could tell him that would make the situation a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get it because it's from his sister / mom.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's the oldest.
Yeah. I don't know who's the oldest. I just didn't want them to compare or her to compare Jasmina to herself and not offer anything other than, well, Jasmina's like me.
Right. She's strong. Sam, Jasmina's friend, said communication comes from communicating.
It does.
And that was a powerful thing because it is a sense of them not talking to each other, like, to figure it out and listening. She brought up the example of, I think, her husband telling her something that he had for lunch or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want to hear it or she doesn't care, but she listens because that's what he wants to tell her. And I was like, Sam, 10 points for you, man.
Sam was very like straightforward and honest in the realm of this is how relationships function, but also, Jasmina, this is where you get it wrong. And it's not to say that you're a bad person because you get it wrong, because she's not saying anything negative about her. She's just like, you're pointing out this about him. Hey, mirror, go look in one.
Right.
That's you.
Right.
So you don't want somebody to do that to you. Stop doing it to him. That's pretty much all she's saying.
Yeah.
And I can take that. So they set up for the housewarming and they both seem to be in better spirits with each other. And they're agreeing that the talk with Pastor Cal did well for them.
We can kind of see it just through the interactions that they have. They was laughing. Like that's the first time we actually got a chance to see them out and laughing with each other.
I haven't seen Michael happy until this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ate like he smiled at the wedding, but like
that was about it.
In the moment happiness, we didn't see much of that with Michael.
Michael was trying to get everybody drunk too. I mean, like faded. Did you see how much liquor he poured?
He follows the instructions.
That's what it was.
That's what he said.
Oh, okay. That was a lot of liquor to go in that blender there, buddy.
That was his story, and he was sticking to it, and I was sticking to it with him. We find out apparently that they're both very competitive. Yeah. But Michael also was able to like be like a good loser too.
Yeah. I didn't know how that was gonna roll. I was glad it rolled the way it did though. I'm really rooting for this couple if you guys can't tell.
You're all in. So he talks to their friends and basically he asked her friends how do they maneuver after a conflict. One of her friends was like, Jasmina can be super petty. Like, she can make an argument continue on and on and on for no reason other than she doesn't want to back down. And I'm like, she has to fix that.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to a person she's in a relationship with. Because somebody's got to fold. And if the guy is always going to fold, but he don't want to fold, he gonna leave.
Yeah.
It just has to be something to that. And the fact that your friends are like, nah, she'll stop talking to you. It's kind of like, yikes. So she had a conversation with his sister, Claire. And basically that conversation felt like it fell short too, because Claire spent most of the time just talking about how great she is for Michael. Like, Jasmine, you're really great for my brother. Like, I can see why you two got paired together because you're like, you're great for my brother.
Jasmina did say she likes him. So that's a positive.
Well, you're not going to tell my sister you don't like me.
I mean, you could.
You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Even Alyssa doesn't tell people she doesn't like Chris outside of production.
Alyssa is trying to hold a certain look.
Exactly.
Jasmina, like, okay, you're right.
Most people would do that.
I don't feel like she had a reason not to. If she didn't, she could just not have spoke on that.
That's true. You got anything else for them?
Nah, that's it.
Okay. Katina and Olajuwon, because this week they were mostly uneventful. So open the episode, he's cooking. Thank God, because peanut butter sandwiches apparently stop when you get married.
Right, apparently.
So Olajuwon meets up with his friend Jeff, and they essentially talk about having they have a conversation about him not having sex with Katina yet. And he used the quote, break the ice, change her life. And I was like,
where does this man get this from? Break the ice, change your life.
One of the things, and this was later on in the episode, that I did not pay attention to apparently when they got married was Olajuwon never dated black women.
Yeah.
Did you know that from?
No, that was a revealing thing. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, her friend didn't like that. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah. Let me see if there was anything else I said about Jeff.
Jeff just really just told him to stop overthinking this marriage thing, which we like all have said.
Jeff told him that he's expecting a lot. And it's like, you're expecting a lot, but you're not giving what you're expecting. Like, manage your expectations, essentially, is what Jeff told him. Katina's friend Ariana came over and they talked. And the trend with Katina's friends is that they don't seem very sold on Olajuwon.
Nobody does. I'm not.
I'm not even talking about. Well, actually, I don't know about Olajuwon, the husband. I don't think they're sold on Olajuwon, the person.
The person. His Isaac is showing through.
I don't know, because you can even find endearing traits about a person that you don't like, and they're all like about everything that they mentioned about him.
She was saying. After she was just finding the things that was wrong. Like, he was jumping from comment to like just continue to talk, continue to talk, just as if he was not trying to get them to ask questions or wanting them to ask him questions, which I think is more so because of his what is
ADHD.
Yeah. And more like rather than him not wanting them to ask him questions, because he's a talker, you know,
and he's very tangenty.
Right. So because of all of that, that's a turn off for her friend. The fact that he's never dated a black woman was a turn off for her.
I feel like her friend, though, not because he's never dated a black woman, because to each his own. Like, never dated a black woman, married a black woman.
Yeah.
The friend was like, Katina was like, well, you know, he's half Irish and he's got the curly hair. She was like, and you can look at him and tell that he's black.
She was like, he's a black man.
It was just like one of those things where you're looking at the situation like, what are y'all trying to say here? Because Olajuwon, me looking at him as a black person, would never look at Olajuwon and be like, he must be biracial. I would just be like, he likes me.
Yeah.
If somebody asks me questions, but I wouldn't even think about the light skin part of it, just in general passing. But it's just like, oh, he only dates white girls. Again, Tommy has a friend that only dated white women. It seemed. And then he married a black woman.
But I saw him date black girls, though. So he didn't like that. Doesn't match with him.
We met him within months of each other, and I never saw him date black women. But then when he dated another friend of mine, and then he married his black wife, and I was like, oh, okay, that's different. Yeah. But it was nothing. I didn't really think anything of it, like in the sense of, oh, he only dates white women.
I don't feel like that's a big to do. You know what I'm saying? It's something to point out.
Yeah, but like even then, like when we found out his fiance was black, or now wife was black, we were both just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And I told another friend, because I was telling her we were going to the wedding, and she was like, he like black girls?
Yeah.
And I was like, guess so. He married one. And we were like completely done with the conversation, because I think it was just a thing.
Are you done talking about my friend?
I think he's my friend too.
Can we talk about,
he's my friend too. I think it's just a thing of I've never seen him with this type or this race, not this type, this race. And then he marries someone of this race, and we're all just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I feel like that's how Olajuwon's family has treated everything, or at least seemingly so. And that's how Katina's treating it. And her friend is just like
it's just somebody trying to pull something from somewhere that doesn't, like, that's, for me, that's the least important thing, is the least important thing when it comes to people, especially people that don't know you.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's interesting that everybody, because like even the friend that was her bridesmaid, because I don't think this girl was her bridesmaid. The friend that came over for the housewarming, when they were in their hallway confessional, the other girl was like, Nikki was the one that said, I like him. And the other girl was like, And I'm wondering what it is specifically that has them not
I don't know. He's still
liking him.
It's like he's putting on a show.
Oh, he's very animated.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people can't get with that. It's like you can't really know a person until you know a person, right? Mm-hmm. And so this impression that he's put on is the only thing they have. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it's like, yeah, I don't like the impression that he gave, because this is my friend and she's up here married to this guy, but this guy seems like he's just playing.
Mm-hmm. Now he does feel like he's playing, but
like we're sitting here watching him, we're like, that don't make sense, you know, with a lot of the stuff that he's doing. So, but you can obviously see that he's trying now. Finding out that he hadn't dated a black girl before, mm-hmm. He may be overthinking the process of how am I supposed to treat her, or do I treat her differently? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's such a distinction between women and what race they are.
And I don't really...
No, it is. Because we do it as people, you know, with take the hair for example. Mm-hmm. Like black women take care of their hair differently from white women.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's just one instance. I'm just using that for example. But he may be looking at it as, how am I supposed, like, what can I get away with that I couldn't get away, or what can't I get away with that I could get away with when I dated the white woman? You know what I'm saying? And so it's those things that he's probably processing through. And it's like, from girl to girl, or boy to boy, in girls' cases, you take different situations that you have with your ex, you bring them into it, the current situation, because those things were successful for you. Yeah. You know? So like that's the thought process he's probably going through, overthinking the fact that she's a black girl, maybe, just throwing it out there. But he still seems like, for me, he still seems like he's trying to convince himself that this is the right thing.
I think he's trying to convince himself that getting married on a TV show was like more than just something to do.
Yeah.
Housewarming, they sit down and talk to the friends. Her friends still don't like it. And they're like, hey, you need to stop with the pressure, especially about the cooking. Like, figure something else out.
Elijah, man.
And she talks to Jeff, and Jeff is like, y'all are good, just don't back down from him.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But
we've said that. Like,
yeah.
We've, like, I think last week we were saying that either on the review show or on the live with Jack and Glenn, that Katina needs to speak up for herself and, you know, be kind of like in the moment and stand on her 10 toes, you know, when it comes to him and not allowing him to just run past her or run over her or whatnot. So same advice.
No, absolutely. He's pushing her. Like she's like firm line here, and he's like, how far will you go? And she just apparently hasn't gone off to be like,
right,
quit playing with me. All right. So we're down to the last two. Who would you like to go next? Noy and Steve?
No, let's go Lindsay and Mark because
Lindsay.
I want to save Noy and Steve because I think what they got to argue about was stupid.
But these two did too.
Yeah.
Lindsay lacks self-awareness. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
Like, period, point blank. She is not aware of self. She is not aware of what her behavior is contributing to a situation.
Mm-hmm.
She is not aware of how everybody's not going to be on her side. I don't know what people around her are like, because we didn't really get to dive deep with friends outside of the no button.
Yeah.
Which tells you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's not very self-aware.
But that's the same thing, like ultimately what Mark was saying with his friend John when they was throwing the ball to each other, was that she puts him, like, she was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
He brought that up, but then she puts him in these situations where and he talked about as well what she puts him in these situations where he's having to think, okay, am I gonna have to like take up for her, or like puts him in uncomfortable positions?
Are we about to have to fight?
Right. And Mark's not trying to fight. He was talking about, he was like, yeah, she's just picking with this guy. He gave her so many outs, and she never took the bait to get out of there. And he's like, man, I like that just makes me uncomfortable. And it's I think John told him, but you just need to speak up. You need to say, hey, this is not.
I didn't write what John said. I think I got very disinterested in their conversation.
Oh yeah, their conversation got a little long with it. But John also told him to he told him to speak up and everything like that. But then he was like, this is not the Mark, the shark. This is not the real shark.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I said last week. Like, I expected Mark the shark, and I don't mean aggressive or anything, but I expected Mark the shark to come in and own a room, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Mark looks like the kind of guy that comes in and points, is like, how you doing? You doing good? Y'all
Right.
okay back there? Like, I expected that type of personality from him, and we don't get any of that from Mark, because it's always seems like he has to downplay who he is because of how big Lindsay's personality is.
Right.
So let's start with not start because we've already started, but basically Lindsay can overstep her boundaries. That was the conversation with
everybody.
So the friends come over for the housewarming and they're making pizzas, and I was like, I like the food to be done when I arrive.
Yeah.
I don't want to come in and work for my dinner.
The side, they had to cook it still. Yeah. I don't even remember who came over there.
I don't remember these friends' names either. They really, I might have to rewatch that scene again. I literally wrote in my notes, I zoned out when they were talking to their friends.
Yeah. The only thing I remember about Lindsay and Mark is that they got to arguing at the bowling alley. And
that was next.
Lindsay went over in the deep end after. So I guess everything started when Lindsay was talking about something.
I can remember what started it. So they were talking about what's happened since Pastor Cal came by. And Katina said this, it was basically totally unrelated to the Pastor Cal situation. She was like, I am so happy that he puts the toilet seat down.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve was starting to ask a question, what is the thing with the toilet seat being down?
Yeah.
Is it the germs, or is it, and he couldn't get the other is it out because Lindsay interrupted him to talk about all the germs that are in the air if you leave your toilet seat up.
That's the reason why I pull it down.
I know.
And now we got slow.
It's 8 years of me learning how to deal. Now it's so ingrained in me. Like when we go to my mom's house, I'd be like, put this down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did do that though. And as she was talking, I think I guess Katina rolled her eyes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay was like, why are you rolling your eyes? And so Mark was like, that's the situation.
The funny thing I noted in that moment, it's not funny, but it was like when Lindsay said, what are you rolling your eyes at, Katina? Katina said, girl, you know I don't talk to you on camera because I'm not trying to argue with you, so stop. And Olajuwon immediately turned and was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And Mark immediately turned and was like, we're not doing that. They're basically like, look, we're friends and we're not about to fight because of y'all.
Yeah.
So
y'all need to chill out.
Stop right now.
Yeah.
Like that was literally the conversations like, hey, no, nope, not doing this.
Yeah.
So Katina stopped, or so it seems, unless there's some behind the scene footage. Katina was like, I'm not doing this with her. I'm done.
No, she moved on.
Lindsay was like, I've been a team player. Go ahead and walk off, bud.
Well, that's after Mark had said something to her about it.
You know, she asked him, why did you say something to me about that?
Did she?
Mm-hmm. That's when she was sitting at the table and he was standing up. Yeah. Like she was drinking a beer and he was just standing there. She asked him, before we saw them, we heard them. They were having that conversation and production was like, go right now. So he went over there. He's like, you don't always have to do this. And she's like, no, I do. She wouldn't be talking to me like that, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. She says she's a team player. Mark walks off. Chris comes down to talk to him. And then she goes into the bathroom. But she's in the bathroom screaming.
Yeah.
Production comes in one by one. And she's like, she's done. She starts complaining about she throws the low blows of low blows.
Yeah.
He makes $60,000 selling gym memberships. I was like, I know people that have worked at the gym and they don't make $60,000 selling gym memberships. Maybe I think he's the manager at the gym though.
Yeah, something like that.
I was like, I mean, 60,000 might not be a big salary in Boston, but go south.
Yeah, 60,000, 30,000, 20,000. This man has a job. It's
not even just that he has a job. He has a job and he's taking care of himself.
Right.
Period. That's it.
That's no argument there. Like, don't talk about a man because of the ways and what he's decided to do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody can't be a doctor or a nurse in her eye. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's a low blow.
Very low.
Then she was like, just make me come or something, she said.
And she was like, you're not doing that.
Yeah. I was like, this girl here.
But it's basically the same thing she did on the resort when they were on their honeymoon. She gets pissed off at him and she starts blowing off all these negative things. Like he poops with the door open.
Yeah.
He clogged up the toilet. And it's like...
It's almost like how when a guy is trying to talk to a girl and she's like, no, he was like, you ugly anyway.
Yeah, and it's like, so why are you here?
Why?
Why are you here?
Right.
Lindsay absolutely lacks self-awareness. She needs an intervention for herself.
Self-control, man.
That too. Self-awareness. She lacks self-awareness. She needs self-control. And there needs to be an intervention with her and herself. And Steve is saying that it usually happens when she starts drinking. And I'm like...
Mark.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Mark says that.
I was going to say, why would Steve say that? Anyway, go ahead.
Right person, Mark. Mark says it's usually when she starts drinking. And one of the things about this show is that there's always alcohol. Mm-hmm. Like every night with dinner during the honeymoon, they're like, not honeymoon, like during the 8 weeks is like there's wine, there's beers.
Because adults should be able to understand like the setting.
I think it brings out who you really are.
It helps. Mm-hmm. It removes the barrier of what they call it. It's the liquid courage. Mm-hmm. You know? So it does that, but then it's also like as adults, you should have some type of control over, you know, your limits. You should know your limit and know how much you want to drink and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I don't know. Lindsay got to figure something else out because what she's doing isn't working.
No, it's not healthy for her. It's not healthy for Mark, and it's not healthy for their relationship. You know.
And Mark is like, "Look, I'm sick of it."
Yeah. But that's all I got for them. Who we got up?
Noy and Steve. Last but not least.
And Steve.
I was really like enjoying them being the uneventful couple.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
Here we go.
So Noy is working at her desk and Steve comes out of the bedroom and asks her if she wants breakfast because he's been doing the majority of the cooking since they've been home.
He ain't got nothing else to do.
Oh, he has things that he could do. He is just like, we gotta eat. I'm here.
Yeah, she's working.
I don't have time constraints on the things that I have to do. So they discuss meals for their housewarming and how they want to make it about both of their cultures. So they like start devising this menu that is like of both of their cultures. He opens up the discussion about his self-employment. She says that she needs to see some action behind him saying that he can always get a job. I'm not really sure what actions can be taken aside from getting a job.
But I was saying that like throughout this whole time, he just needs to show her, however he figures it out or however they talk about it, needs to show her that the issue is not money. Mm-hmm. You know, the issue is me really discovering himself. I did write something that as a black man in my 30s, I couldn't do that.
You in your 30s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mid 30s. Mm-hmm. Like I seen it and I had to check another box. Anyway. Anyway, but it was, I was like, man, as a 35-year-old black man, I can't say I'm gonna quit everything and discover what I really want to do. It's frowned upon in the community.
You just can't talk to people about it.
Right. I can't tell nobody. No, I don't have, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing little odd jobs here, little odd jobs there, because it's frowned upon.
But there's so many people that are living that life, but we don't think anything of it because we all know people that are like, I drive for Uber.
Yeah.
That's it. That's not really a job. Mm-hmm. But nobody frowns upon it unless they asking you for some money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're like, can you take me to the airport? You ain't got nothing to do tomorrow unless you Ubering. And I mean, you can work your way around that.
Yeah.
So it's just, I want to know what action Steve can take aside from getting a job.
I still think it's way too early for them, like, because they know they want to have children in the future.
3 specifically.
Yeah.
I wasn't coughing because of that.
Yeah. No, I think it's just that they need to really understand and learn who each other are. Mm-hmm. Noise need to for when I don't want to say sustainability, but stability. Mm-hmm. Her need for that is embedded in her from growing up poor, you know. But then she also said something that was a little bit confusing and a little bit weary, you know, got me like a little dazed and confused. She was like, she doesn't want to be the person that has to pay for everything. but you want him to.
Did she say specifically she wanted him to? I don't.
No, she didn't
that.
say. I don't think she said she wanted him to, but she did say she didn't want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And if she didn't want to do it, then who would?
Well, I guess she's looking at like, I don't want either one of us to pay for everything. I want us to pay for everything together.
I feel like she would have said that.
I don't know.
I just don't feel like
what you're saying.
I just don't feel like she was like she wanted to be the main person, the breadwinner of the family. I was like, it's nothing wrong with that though. There's house dads.
I actually have a friend who her dad has never worked.
Yeah.
Like even to this day, mid-30s. She's a year older than us, but mid-30s, her dad still has not had a job since. I don't know if he worked at the very beginning of his marriage.
Yeah.
But mom and dad have been together creeping up on 40 years at this point, if they haven't already hit 40 years together. 40 years married, not together. And he's been a house husband. Like he literally is there all day, every day. And it's her norm. I don't think that she would feel strange about having a husband and she pays all the bills.
Yeah.
Because that's how she grew up. So I don't know. He mentions that he has savings and all this thing, and then they talk about them getting each other. Was this during the housewarming when they talked about giving each other basically the same gift on their wedding day?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at the housewarming now apparently. Friends come over for housewarming. We eat all this food. They talk about their gift exchange on the wedding day, them not even knowing each other. And then they talk about the future. Do you guys want to have kids? Is Sushi going to be...
have siblings.
Yeah, Sushi going to have siblings. And Steve was like, yeah, I would like to have kids, but one thing I don't like about Noy is that she's very rigid in the 3 kids. And he was like, that's... What was the word he used?
I don't know.
Did I write down the word that he used? Essentially, he didn't like it because I know he used the word rigid, but it's like there's no compromise there at all because he's looking at it from a risk perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if? This like we said I think I said it during the live, not during our actual review, but like, what if you got 2 kids and third time you get pregnant, there's a set of twins or even a set of triplets.
You got to give 2 of them away then.
Right. It's like she's very rigid on the 3 kids and that's not something that you can be rigid about. Like, you just don't know. Like stuff happens. What if you get 2 sets of twins, like 2 pregnancies? Boom, boom. So they go and they have their separate conversations with the friends. Steve and her friends talk about the kids. Noy tells his friends her concerns on money and him not having a job. And she says she can't understand it. And then one of his friends was like, he has a great network of people around him. Like, I work in the industry. Like, my job is always hiring for what Steve does. And she's like, I can't believe he knows someone that works in the field and he's not trying to get a job. And I'm like, I think what you're missing is he wants the flexibility to not have a job.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it like, have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, jobs are cool. Jobs are fun. Had one. At this point, I think he's going on 8 months without one. Because I believe they get married in August and he got laid off in December.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he had his 4-month trek. Don't know how much money he spent / wasted through this excursion, but he's lived another 4 months.
Well, I don't, and that's the thing that I was saying with him having a plan for her because she doesn't look at entrepreneurship as a viable thing. It's not a way to provide for a home because, like her family, they had to work to get a job. But even though entrepreneurship is the way to go when it comes to actually making the money that you want to make. Now, I guess
it's also how you look at it with your family, because one of the things that you told me in the past is that your grandfather was an entrepreneur, but you never looked at him as an entrepreneur.
Nobody ever talked about him being an entrepreneur, you know.
But you knew what he did. You knew that he owned the business, but it
never clicked.
Didn't click that way. And it's like your grandmother would have never told your grandfather, you need to go get a job. Because he had one. He made it.
Yeah, no, he worked.
He did. I'm saying he did work for a company as well, but like, if he wanted to with just that job, he could have done just that. And I don't think it would have been a conversation of he needs to go find a job.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what Noy is used to, and that's how that's what providing looks for her. It's like going out, getting a full-time job. And she's probably looking at it like, I'm sitting here working, but you're still laying in the bed. Like that process there, or that thought process is real. I've had that plenty of times where I've been pissed that you're just laying in the bed and I'm working, you know? But it is what it is on that.
Still go to work.
Go ahead, keep going, man.
I'm clocking you. So after everybody leaves, we have this Steve confessional cam where Steve says that Noy offered to cook for him and Noy eats gluten-free noodles. He does not. So he's like, he goes into the kitchen and Noy has turned on her noodles and has not turned on his noodles.
His noodles were turned on, but she wasn't watching his noodles.
That's what I'm saying. They hadn't been turned on yet.
No,
he said something about it, and then she turned them on, and then they were getting overcooked.
No. He put his noodles on the pot on the stove.
Right. She didn't. That's what I'm saying. She did not.
His noodles were boiling over. Like,
okay.
Anyway, go ahead. You
finish it. Go ahead.
I was saying
you heard this conversation a little differently than I did. Go ahead.
I did. The Noy wasn't watching his noodles.
Correct. We can both agree on that.
We agree on that. She wasn't watching his noodles and he asked her about it. Go.
And from what we could hear from the camera that's mounted directly at the kitchen, he did not ask her aggressively.
Nah.
He just said something about it. Noy got angry and she packed up her dog and she left. And he texted her and she didn't text back. And then she gets on Instagram and was like, you need to learn how to say no to things and no to people because people will hurt you and they will talk about you because you're trying to make them dinner.
I thought that was the dumbest argument, the dumbest thing to be upset about. And I said something else is bothering her. The job thing is bothering her and she's just looking for a reason to be mad because she knows she can't be mad about that.
So she comes back to the house. They sit down. Steve is like, look, first off, stop telling my business on social media.
Yeah. Like before you even talk to me.
Did you think that was wrong? Because it was.
It was completely wrong.
No, I'm saying that's how he was. He was like, did you think that was wrong? Because it was.
Yeah, he just, right. He was not BSing with her.
That was wrong. You were wrong. Talk to me before you go talk to anybody else. Do you know how much of our family could have seen this? Because my family follows you on social media.
Right.
So it's like, all right, Steve is like, don't play with me, play with your mama. She said that she got, essentially boiling down what she said was she got triggered because he did not just say thank you. that she was preparing him a meal.
Oh, he wasn't being appreciative because he said you let my noodles boil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find that to be it was so stupid to me.
She was mad about something else.
It was so stupid to
full
me.
agreement with you on that.
You left like she was big mad.
She packed up her dog and left. Now, you and I have two different cooking styles, right?
Yeah.
You are a clean as you go kind of person.
Yeah.
And I am if I stop to focus on putting two things in the dishwasher, something gonna burn.
Yeah.
That's just how my cooking operates. I understand why growing up, my grandmother and my mother was like, get out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all Noy needed to say in that moment while he was in there talking about the noodles, because the noodles are not a big deal to blow up over. But when you're trying to do more than one thing, and I don't know what she was making, but I think about like me making homemade Alfredo sauce. If I stop to pay attention to anything that I wasn't supposed to pay attention to, my sauce gonna burn.
But the thing is, like, I don't get it from Noy's standpoint. It's like,
oh, I'm not saying that, but like the solution, get out of my kitchen.
Yeah, but like even telling him to get out the kitchen, it's like, but the noodles, his noodles.
You might have to eat them hard.
You have to recook them. But it's like, dog, you could have just, when you got your noodles out, you could have got my noodles out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's easy.
That's why we don't have separate but equal foods.
Right.
If it's something that
I would just ate her noodles.
If it's something that I do not eat and you make it, I'm just not eating it.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you don't eat that I'm eating, you just not eating it.
Yeah, I'll find me something else to eat.
Like we're eating separate meals that day.
But it's like, it was her first time cooking for him. And he was just trying to, like, he eats a specific type of noodles and she eats. The fact that we're sitting up here discussing the noodles sounds stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That's how dumb this argument was. But Steve had a point.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't come off as aggressive as from what I saw, unless they cut out something.
Nah, he was definitely very down to earth about it. And even like talking to her the next day, he was real calm about, stern but calm about how he felt and what he thought. Mm-hmm. And so Noy messed up on that one. And she needs to be truthful. Like, it wasn't that you said that. It was all the other stuff that
you don't have a job.
Right.
And I'm up here, I went to work today and then I got off work and I made you some noodles and then you complained about my noodles. That's what it was.
It's okay to be mad about stuff, man.
But at the end of it, he basically was like, you need to tell me when you're upset and not just go run away. Because anything could have happened to you and I wouldn't have known what to tell anybody. Because you literally just left.
Yeah, but on top of that, how does it fix the issue?
It does not. It doesn't fix the issue. It doesn't change anything. And you're still over there mad. And I'm like, it's been 24 hours. Let's resolve.
Yeah.
And move on.
Yeah. It's like, in arguing with a person, it's okay to say, hey, that upset me. We can talk about it later. But you have to communicate that. You can't just go off and be mad.
I mean, sometimes you do have to go off and be mad, but in a traditional marital setting, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I can go upstairs and be mad, but you still are going to be in the same house as me.
Right. I would rather you tell me, hey, that made me mad. Don't talk to me right now. And then you come down, cool off after a while. But before the night is up, we definitely have to discuss whatever it is. You still mad or something like that. And
yes.
We kind of communicate what's going on.
Don't yell at me.
But don't not communicate with me and you're pissed about something, and you just like, that ain't gonna fix it, man.
It's not gonna fix it at all. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
Any additional words of wisdom?
Nope.
Since you checked the new box.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. No, I have nothing. All showed out.
Sunday, we'll be back on Jack and Glenn's channel at 3 Eastern, I believe, for the Married at First Sight panel discussion. If you guys haven't already, check out Tommy's Bel Air review. I put it, or he put it, because he actually did all the edits last week. He put it as the end screen of last week's video, and we'll do the same thing for this week's video. Apparently this show was really good and he's gotten into it.
Yes, yeah.
Give him some feedback. Talk to him in the comment section. He needs some encouragement.
You sound like somebody's mama.
Anyway, I am somebody's mama. I have a whole 2-year-old. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. Like this video. And let us know, what do you think Noy was really upset about? Yeah. Or was it the noodles specifically?
Was it really the noodles?
Was it really the noodles?
That's funny, man.
All right. What did I say? I said like, share. Oh, I didn't say share. And share this video with somebody you know that watches Married at First Sight. Because,
yeah,
we like new people watching too.
Yep. All right, guys. We out. Peace.
Bye.